Are you a professional pillow fighter? Or a 9-to-5 low-cost time travel agent? Or maybe real estate sales on Mars is your profession? It doesn't matter. Whatever it is you do, however complex or intricate, Monday.com can help you organize, orchestrate, and make it more efficient. Monday.com is the one centralized platform for everything work-related. And with Monday.com, work is just easier. Monday.com, for whatever you run. Go to Monday.com to learn more.
Well, I don't see the point in waiting any longer, so let's bring her out. The star attraction, the one you came to see. Ladies and gentlemen, the one, the only, Miss Judy Gold.
Welcome to Kill Me Now. This is my voice for today. Hey, welcome to Kill Me Now. Oh, my name's Judy. All right, welcome to Kill Me Now. My name's Judy Gold.
You abandoned it so quickly.
I know. I wasn't into it because now I can hear myself and I realize what a fucking asshole I sound like. Welcome to Kill Me Now. We're here. Well, Patrick's on the board. God knows what'll happen with that. And Hennessy's here.
Hey.
Hey, Hennessy.
Hey, good to be here.
And I love our guest today. I love our guest today. By the way, I've wanted this guest for a really long time.
Truth.
But she abandoned New York and moved to LA. And now and every time she's here, I'm like, you were fucking here. And I didn't know. And I bumped into her at Eastville.
Yeah.
On Friday night or Saturday. What night was it?
Saturday
Night, yeah. And I was like, you better fucking do my podcast. And she was like, I don't really want to, but okay.
It's a classic Judy Gold invitation.
Yeah. And here she is, ladies and gentlemen, the incredible Laurie Kilmartin.
Thank you, man. I'm so excited.
Bitches, yeah. Okay,
Bitches.
I just want to...
I thought this would be in your apartment. That's half the reason I accepted is I wanted to see your apartment.
We do some of them in my apartment.
I looked up equipment the other day. Self-recording, they have these little boxes with foam in it and everything, so that it gets rid of the.
I put foam all over the door, by the way.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Remember when I did that?
Yeah, and it didn't work.
No, it did work.
My point is I don't get to see your apartment, and
you can see. Next time you're here, you'll see my apartment.
All I'm saying, I think it would be a good investment for the future.
Yeah, that's great.
And then we could do it at
So
your apartment.
I have no money, so I just want you to know today fucking sucks on Kill Me Now. It's pouring out. Mm-hmm. This morning, I just want everyone to know I went inside because I've been traveling, and I went inside the little my little jewelry case, and one of my mother's hoop earrings that I love is gone. And I lost last year about this exact time. I lost a tiny diamond earring my mother bought me. So now that's 2 earrings. My kids have broken. I had 2 Waterford vases that were my great grandparents because they threw a fucking Nerf football. That's one of them, and the other one was Henry was beating up Ben, and they bumped into the piano, and boom. So now I had my whole fit where I'm like, God, why are you doing this to me? And then I have to realize it's just a thing. Mm-hmm. But I want my fucking earring, and I'm in a really bad mood.
Yeah.
So, and then I'm teaching my class, and these are the texts I get from Ben. Okay.
Well, he knows you're teaching right now.
Right. So I said I'm teaching. So this is how it begins. I write, you have PT today at 5:40. Mom and I have your parent-teacher conference at 5:30. I love you. Okay. What's the number to get someone in for Chelsea Piers? Because he plays basketball at Chelsea Piers at night. Mm-hmm. I wrote, I can't now. Teaching. Okay. 12:07. Can you send the number now, or are you still teaching? 1:21. I'm teaching. Who do you want to bring? Evan. I want to call now so I can make sure he can come. Mommy, can you please respond?
Mommies, wait. Still at 15?
I said, is he 16? Yes, he's 16. Are you calling? Gives me the number. He needs to bring ID. And they'll let him in? That's him. And he has to fill out a waiver. Okay. And you need to get a guest pass. They'll take care of you at the front desk. Is his school ID okay? Is his school ID okay? Is his school ID? I can't fucking take it. Okay, so as we're on the air right now, my publicist just sent me a text, and I'm glad I'm with Laurie Kilmartin when I say this. And it's upsetting.
Yeah.
Don Rickles died.
Oh.
I know. Yeah.
I didn't know.
You just found out just seconds ago?
Yeah.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
Damn. We were going to have him on the show.
Oh, no, really?
Hennessy, shut up. No, we weren't.
I mean, a lot of people asked us to.
Okay, not the right thing to say at the death. It's not about us, okay?
I think you gave it a couple seconds before you made it about you.
Here's
Oh
the thing.
my God.
What was it about
What was
him?
that?
Complete
He's
narcissist.
gone. He's gone. It only affects us.
It's a loss on many levels,
It is a
including
loss
your roster.
on many levels. I was really looking forward to meeting him.
His manager's a total dick. And
Who's his manager?
I don't know. It's probably one of those old manager-client relationships where Rickles was his only client.
Right.
But myself and Bernadette Polly and Katie Kennedy, a couple of comics in LA, went to go see him at the Canyon Club.
Right.
And we waited afterwards, and I said, we're all comedians, gave some resumes.
John Rickles.
Yes.
This is the Jew Bell, by the
Oh,
way.
I had
Anything
no
Jewish.
idea. I thought the story was already taking too
No.
long, and that was her way
No,
of
go
saying
ahead.
wrap up.
No, it's the Jew Bell. Go ahead.
And we could see Rickles back there doing a meet and greet, and I'm just like, we just want to praise him and say, hey, you're great.
Right.
And he wouldn't let us back there. And
The
I think he
manager?
didn't believe us because we were women. And I think guys would have got in there. I was really pissed. And then he came to do Conan, and I saw
Please look up the
again.
manager's name.
Yeah, he's an old guy who probably just lost his only client, but he was an asshole.
I'm sure he was Jewish. Laurie, I'm so excited to have you on.
I'm excited.
Now, is the manager Jewish?
I'm looking.
Now.
God.
Laurie, I am a big fan of yours, and often you have done things that have made me feel proud to be a part of this community of comedians, because you have integrity, you're smart, you're a hard worker, you're funny. It's so
you.
great to be a cohort
Yes.
of yours.
Yes.
Okay. So,
And by the way, I feel the same way about you. And you were, when I moved here, you were like the queen of New York. And before you moved
changed.
here, I kept, it always changes, right? But when I kept seeing your picture in JFL, do you remember that old comedy magazine?
Oh, yeah,
in the
yeah,
90s?
yeah.
And you had the Jerry curl.
Oh, please.
And I was
that's
like,
good,
oh
girl.
my God. And I saw your TV appearances, Evening at the Improv kind
Right.
of stuff. And I was like, this lady's amazing.
Really?
Yeah, and
I
we don't
love
have
you.
anyone like her in San Francisco.
Thank
you
you.
were so on the crowd and so in attack mode. It was really exciting to see.
Right. And now, it's. I would get a lot of shit at that time, though, too.
I bet.
Yeah. And I was just like, fuck you. This is who I am. You
Yeah.
know? That's why I love you, because you are who you are. Now, you are the author of Shitty Mom, which is on the New York Times bestseller list.
For a week, yeah.
It was on the New York Times bestseller
1
list.
You sound like a comic.
You also wrote another book. Is that correct?
I just finished a book that's coming out in February
Yes.
called Dead People Suck. And
Right.
it's about grieving and hospice and cancer, being the adult child of an old person who dies.
Right. I could have helped you write that, actually.
I'm about to get my edits back, so you probably could jump
Okay,
in.
thank you.
I just turned in the manuscript.
That's awesome. You work really hard, but I want to go back. I want to go back to your humble beginnings.
cool.
In California. You were a California girl, and yet you're so not a California girl in your essence.
I feel like as soon as I landed in New York, I was like, this is where I'm supposed to be born.
Like I always thought you were from like Pennsylvania, Ohio or
really?
something, and then moved to New York. I never knew you were a West Coast person.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So, and your family was very Catholic.
Yes.
Like how religious?
Dad went to mass constantly, and then my mom didn't.
Do you think it was an OCD thing?
I've spent the last couple years trying to figure him out now that he's dead.
Right.
You know, it's so much easier to get a clearer view of them when they're not there. It would be so great if you could have one Q&A like 2 years after they died, just to answer all the questions that come up after that only come up.
But I mean, my father died in 1990. I still have questions, so it's not even 2 years. It's got to be every
5 years. Yeah, once a year, a review.
Yeah, a review every year.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah. Okay, go ahead.
So he was very, very religious.
Why was he so religious?
He was just raised that way. He was raised by super religious people. And
in California?
No, his parents were born in Albany, Irish Catholic in Albany.
Oh, very nice.
My grandfather, his dad was a store manager, and he got bumped to a few places, and he ended up in Topeka managing a pretty
Kansas.
Yes, so they were like the early Catholics in Topeka, and they were they all kind of all went to mass together because they were surrounded by KKK.
Right.
So he was reared in that very religious way.
And then what about your mom?
Mom probably resented the Catholic Church, but didn't have the language to do it. So she would just get sick on Sundays and then ask us to pray for her, and she'd get better when we returned.
How many times did she get sick?
She would get a migraine every Sunday morning.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah.
Do you get migraines?
I don't. No.
Yeah.
And hers have stopped.
Yeah.
So,
that's miraculous.
It really is. Thank you, St. Bernadette.
Have you heard of ThredUp?
I love ThredUp. I love secondhand stores.
Yeah, I know that you love secondhand stores, and you told me that you buy your winter clothes in Maui, which is really a good place to buy winter clothes.
It's actually a perfect place to buy winter clothes because you go to the secondhand stores on Maui, and all of the tourists and people that decide they want to move there, they get rid of all their winter clothes, and they take them all to the secondhand stores. So it's a perfect
and then you get them cheaper.
But here's the thing: I can't always go to Maui.
Right. So wouldn't you rather do it quickly on the internet?
Yes,
I would. Intranet.
I would love if Hawaii was, far enough along to be able to.
But sometimes like you want to get like designer like if I'm going to get something secondhand or gently used, as they say. It has to be well made and like good designers.
Absolutely.
And my kids do that too. Like they'll buy like sneakers or like a used fucking hoodie, and I'm like, what the fuck? But you can go on ThredUp and THRED up.com/Judy.
This really is
/Judy, and you get 40% off your first order.
Truly, everything there is up to 90% off already. So you're getting 40% off of 90% off. I mean, just go and order a whole bunch of shit so that you could get this big deal on a huge order and get some clothes for. I mean, summer's gonna be here.
You can also get. It's not only clothes. It's like they have stuff from Coach,
shoes, handbags,
Free People, Lululemon, J. Crew, Zara. They have Valentino shoes. I mean, Valentino shoes are like $1,000, and you get them for like $100, and then you get 40% off. You get them for $60. $1,000 shoes. I mean, that's ridiculous.
And I was checking out so much of this stuff has never been used ever. It's brand new styles. Everything is really up to date with what's hip and cool now.
I'm actually going on ThredUp today.
It's
I'm not
so
kidding, because
good.
I need some clothes. There's like certain things that and I don't want to go out. I don't want to spend, money retail, and I don't want to spend the time when I could just shop at home.
Especially New York City.
I know.
It's a nightmare. This is perfect, especially if you're a New Yorker, you're going to always be tight on cash.
But if
wherever
you're into,
you are, if you're an American.
If you're into shopping secondhand, which I know a lot of people are. I mean, a lot of people, when I go, oh my God, I love that, and they're like, oh, I got it at a secondhand
Remember when people used to make fun of it, and now it's like the chic thing to do?
Right. Now it's cool because the whole thrill of it is getting the deal.
Yeah.
And now you can get the deal sitting in your apartment.
Yeah. And
or
quality
house,
clothes
wherever
that,
you live.
that may not have even ever been used.
Right, you don't have to dig through that. The great part is getting the deal. The shitty part is going through everything.
Hours you need to set
Right.
aside.
So this is like the greatest thing,
It
and it's like
is.
all cool, trendy, like really hot kind of stuff. I'm going on there right now. Threadup.com/Judy for an extra additional 40% off. It's already 90% off.
Use code Judy. That's like 9, 10, 11, 12. That's like 130% off. You're basically making money by shopping here.
Right. They're paying you.
Yeah, go get yourself one of your buddies that knows how to stylize you and
if you're
go through the website.
And you know that our president is not into the EPA, right? And most clothes that are not used or thrown out go into landfills.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
And now you can wear them on your body.
Yeah, help the
And
world.
you know it's like always like some rich person who's like, oh, I bought these. And you know what? I put them on and I didn't like them. And
how many pairs of pants or coats do you have sitting in your closet with tags still on them from when you still got them?
Well,
and
not
now
me.
these trends are coming back around. So.
Yeah, that's right. So go to threadup.com/Judy
with code Judy. Also.
I thought
threadup.com/Judy, code Judy.
Oh, well, whatever. Promo code JUDY, all caps, okay? And you will be very, very happy.
And sexy.
I get the last word. You grew up in Walnut Creek.
Right. Did you ever work the Walnut Creek Punchline?
I think so. I must have.
Yeah.
Do you work there?
I mean, it closed in the mid-'90s.
But when you worked there, was it
yeah.
weird? Because it was hometown?
It was strange. A lot of high school,
now,
people show up.
and you have a sibling. You have a sister.
Sibling. I have a sister.
And did you guys fight growing up? Or?
Nothing abnormal. We were like 4.5 years apart, so just far enough apart where we didn't share anything. And
right. Did you hate her or?
I got resentful when she learned to cook, and I felt like she was showing me up.
Right.
Which it became super homemakey.
Right.
But
Yeah, but you're not the homemakey type.
Exactly. I realized later that people can have their own interests.
Right. Oh, well, I'm very happy.
If they're succeeding, they're not doing it to piss you off.
Right,
They're actually enjoying what they like.
What
to
is
do.
taking so long?
Are you down a rabbit hole?
It might be Peter Delafont.
No, it's not Jewish.
His mother could be
looking.
Jewish, right?
I'm checking on it.
Yeah,
still.
the mother could be Jewish.
Yeah.
Very nice. So, did you so you grew up in not a diverse community?
No, it's pretty white.
White?
Very white, yeah.
No, any Jews?
There was one family that was Jewish, and the guy across the street painted like KKK on their house.
Right. I got that when I was growing up too. It was really fun.
Yeah.
And were you friends with him or her?
No, everyone I was friends with was on the swim team. So if they had been on the swim team, then yeah. But they sort of kept to themselves.
So did your parents go over there at all? Like in my neighborhood growing up, like someone moved in and everyone went over to the house to welcome them and stuff.
No, we came in after they were there.
Oh, okay.
And this was like a cul-de-sac suburb. Everyone kind of moves into their house and they never see each other again.
Right.
Yeah, there was more like that. I mean, it was a little less so that you did see your neighbors, but now everyone's just stays indoors. Like kids stay indoors. But when I was a kid, we'd bike up and down.
Oh my God!
Yeah.
But this like when I grew up, like this is what my kids do. Well, they go out all the time. Mm-hmm. But it was like you left the house. It was like be home at dinner.
Yeah.
And that was it. They didn't know what the fuck you did all day.
Right.
You played. We played.
Yeah.
We created playtime things. So were you popular in school?
No. I was a little like on the nerd.
And you were a good
smart
student?
side, and I had glasses and all that stuff.
Yeah,
so
it's
I was
really great.
Put over there.
Try being 6 feet at 13. Okay.
I'm not comparing.
Yeah, all right.
I'm not comparing.
No, it's the same shit. Now, how did you get into swimming?
It was just the thing to do, and then I was pretty good at it, and then I pursued it further.
Oh my God. I got soaked. That is thunder.
Oh my God.
Do you think God's mad at me for screaming at him about my mother's earring?
Maybe God found your earring.
God doesn't exist.
God, please.
to get
Okay.
your attention.
So
Doesn't exist.
God. So
He's Jewish.
and your neighbors across the street, I forgot. Okay, so you're on this. I'm really fascinated by this whole swim team thing.
Really?
So yes.
Okay.
So you're on the swim team. how old were you when you started swimming?
I was like 4.
And then
I competed on a team that just swam and trained and competed in the summertime. And then there was something called AAU.
that's what my son's on. For basketball, yeah.
So in swimming back then, if you went AAU, that meant you were ineligible to swim on a recreational team because you've been working out all summer.
Right.
I mean, all winter, so you're obviously much stronger. So you if it's one or the other. It's like part-time or full-time.
Right.
And so I decided to go full-time, I guess, like when I was 13 or 14 years old.
And did your parents like drive you to all these
Yes, my
swim
dad
meets?
drove me to everything.
Really?
Early morning, 5:30 in the morning, getting in the Toyota Tercel and driving to
Oh,
San
very
Ramon.
nice.
Yeah.
Toyota Tercel. Very nice. We had a Pontiac. So, okay. The swim culture.
Yeah.
Like we know what the basketball culture is. We know, what is, I mean, first of all, were you ever going to be an Olympian?
No, I was training with people who were.
Right.
And I was
do you know anyone we would know?
nobody famous, like people that have just won single gold medals.
Not Michael Phelps.
Not Michael Phelps.
Like
no,
who?
like I swam at UCLA. The only year I swam there was with this guy named Bruce Hayes. He came out later on, but he was closeted during the
like
84
Barry
games.
Manilow, yeah.
But do you remember that guy, the Albatross? He was this West German swimmer named Mikhail Gross, and his wingspan, arm length, it was over 7 feet.
No fucking
and
way.
It's called the Albatross.
Right.
And if you look this up on YouTube, there's this amazing race. It's the 4x200 free relay in the LA Olympics. And Bruce Hayes, who was like 5'6" and weighed about 120, but all sinew,
right,
was up against the Albatross.
Right.
They're both swimming the anchor.
How tall's the Albatross?
At least 6'7". At
Okay.
least 6, just a gigantic. And they both dive in around the same time. And as soon as they come up for the dive, the Albatross is 3/4 of body, like the head of Bruce Hayes, just because of body length. And then slowly, very slowly, Bruce Hayes, this tiny fucking machine, just overtakes him and touches him out at the very end. And even when you know the conclusion to the
It's
race,
so
you're watching
exciting.
it's heart-stopping. Yeah. Yeah.
And he won a gold medal.
He won his relay, the gold medal.
Right.
Yeah.
Fuck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
I love that. So you described it as being cultish, the whole swimmy.
Yeah, I mean, my swim coach is in prison for child
Yes, I
molestation.
didn't get there yet. I didn't get there yet.
We can delete that, and we'll go.
No, it's fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, it is very much so because he moved from team to team and wasn't caught for a long time, and people just were like, "Well, he makes Olympian, so
So the pool at UCLA is beyond nice. That outdoor pool.
Yes,
Yeah.
it is a nice one. Yeah,
Because I did a show at the Geffen, and I was
wow.
right there, and that it's incredible.
Well, there was another
sorry.
pool.
Yeah.
Now this is back in 83 or 84, and at the time there was a men's and women's team.
Right.
The men's team got cut because of they wanted to give the money to football because they had to do
that's way more
gender.
important.
Yeah. But I mean, they just cut a bunch of men's team
Right.
to make up for football, so
Right.
they could
Very
have
important.
the
Yeah.
equality. Yeah. So, but at the time, the women's team swam in the really dank, crappy pool, and the men's team, Ron Ballator's team.
That's
got to
so
swim
great.
there.
That's so great.
No.
Okay, so you're we're gonna get into so Andy is the name of your
Andy King?
Yeah.
That's my swim coach.
swim coach.
If you Google Andy King swim coach, you'll see his mugshot.
Oh, I got.
It's
Can
pretty-
you Google
it's pretty-
the mugshot, please?
He's
now.
pretty gross.
Okay, so he's your swim coach. He's married. Kids.
No, he married a swimmer who was 17 when they met or hooked up.
Oh, that was old
Okay.
for him, right?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, looking back,
And the
that was
parents
like totally
didn't give a shit.
inappropriate. No, parents didn't know back then, and I don't
Right.
think they thought of it as child abuse if
Right.
a 16 or 15-year-old was going out with an older male. It was just
What do you think of the Celine Dion thing? Like Celine Dion met him. She was a young girl.
she was like 12, right?
Right. And then, he's her man. And then they end up getting married. She has never kissed another person.
Yeah. She's led a strange life.
Yeah.
Ew, he's gross, Andy.
Yeah.
Fuck him. I'm gonna.
Let me see the picture you found. Yeah, that's him.
Okay, so you're on. How old are you when you started working with Andy?
His wife Diane coached my rec team. That's how I met him.
Right.
So I guess 11 or 12.
Okay, and he. Tell me how the abuse.
Well,
it's not like you know this gymnastics thing that's going on.
It's just as bad as swimming,
right? So I mean, reading about this, Dr. Larry Nasser, who literally stuck his fingers inside. Like the parents are sitting there. You got to read about this guy. Yeah,
I kind of skimmed it.
Yeah,
at some point
he said he had, in order to relieve their back or whatever, he had to stick his fingers in their vagina, and he would be treating them, and
in
he'd
front
have
of the parents. This is happening?
He'd have like a towel over them. He'd stick the finger in the vagina and leave it there for he'd have it in there.
Oh my god!
Such a power play,
right? And now all of these gymnasts have come forward that he stuck his fingers in their vaginas.
Oh my God.
And
did the parents know, or was
No, they had no idea. They're in the room and he's just doing his thing.
And the kids are probably like, do I feel what I feel? Like
right.
you would doubt what you're feeling just because your parents are there and it makes no sense.
Right. Yeah, you got to read about it. All right. Unless it, So when did he start sexually harassing you? Or abusing you?
I wasn't abused in a classic sense.
Right.
I mean, he made a last minute ploy for me that was very damaging to me emotionally.
Right.
But it wasn't like some of the girls he started grooming at 12 or younger. There was two on my team in particular that had serious emotional, responses to it. Like their lives were ruined,
And they must have been very young.
Very young. Yeah. And
did you know during this time?
No. I knew there was other stuff going on with other coaches. I mean, it was just so corrupt, especially in the 80s. It was so corrupt. Almost every coach was having sex with a female swimmer,
right?
And it was just no big deal. And
do you think it still goes on today?
Yeah, but less so, I'm sure.
Right. Because people are more aware of it.
Very much more aware.
And you were probably like, I'm not fucking putting up. I mean,
Well, I wasn't his type.
Right.
And I think he was just desperate when he tried to do something with me.
Right.
I don't know.
So what, you went to visit him? What happened?
No, I was home from for Christmas break.
Right.
I had gone to UCLA and I was having trouble. I was bulimic, and I thought it would get better as soon as I got away from my mother, and it got way worse.
Right.
And so I was kind of having trouble with that. And he said, "Come here, I need to talk to you. So come over to my house." And so I did, and then he sort of kind of threw himself on me, and I was like, "What the fuck's happening?"
Right.
Like I couldn't, because this guy was like a father figure to
right.
me, and he'd
right.
never done anything like that to me before. So I was sort of shocked. And mercifully, his wife, who I knew from
walks in
because she had just been fired.
Right.
So she came home early, and he jumped off of me, and she had no idea, and I was just like stunned.
Yeah. Right.
And I'm like, okay, I gotta go, and then that was
she
that.
she didn't
I don't think so.
Did you tell your parents when you went home?
No.
I'm sure.
I just was like, there's no way that happened. I mean,
right.
I would never.
Because you can't fucking believe it.
You can't believe it. The guy's married. I know. It's like, why would anyone do that? It doesn't make sense that you'd.
Do you think do you think your bulimia was a result of it had happened before and you didn't remember?
No, it wasn't. I mean, it was definitely like when I was swimming, like I got very busty very quickly,
right.
and I was called cans constantly on the swim team, which
God.
I now realize, wow, my coach should have stepped in and stopped that instead of laughing at it and encouraging it. And I just didn't realize it, Like, I think now we parents are so much more aware of,
my God.
You don't do that to
that's
my kid.
inappropriate. Yeah.
And no one paid attention. The whole 70s, parents were not paying attention. In a way that's good, in a way that's bad, because this stuff happens. You just give your kid to a coach and assume
you
they're
trust
okay.
them.
Like you give them to a priest.
Right.
You assume they're okay.
Well, we were also not allowed to talk about the private parts. Or
Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Hannah,
It
say,
was so.
you were not alive in the 70s.
But even in the 80s and 90s, it was very taboo.
But the
So I can only
70s
imagine.
was 70s
Nice
was
segue.
yeah. But the 70s was a very,
Total neglect.
I mean, honestly, my parents had no idea what the fuck I was doing.
Yeah.
But there was something great about it too, because we didn't talk. The thing is, you didn't talk about shit like that.
Stuff went unnoticed. Like, they didn't know what I wasn't doing crazy stuff, but I was thinking crazy thoughts.
Right.
And I spent a lot of time. I would organize pictures of female movie stars by their thinnest to their,
Right.
And I spent a lot of time being obsessed with that stuff. And I
Right.
wish my mom would have been like, what are you doing? Why is
Right.
there a scrapbook of noses to figure out which is the best nose? And
Right.
why are you insane? Like, no one stepped in.
No one was introspective like that. But
Yeah.
do you feel like what do you feel like? What the fuck is that?
I'm doing Facebook Live, and supposedly even if your phone is off, it will still beep. Not cool.
Okay,
Facebook.
that's great. So, where do you think eating disorders? I mean, I'm not an expert, but seem to be a lot about control. And when did you begin?
I only when I matured,
Right.
I mean, I was kind of like a normal flat-chested, tall, muscular kid
Right.
until I was like 12 and a half. And then all of a sudden I had hips and boobs, and I
Right.
didn't want them.
Right.
I liked being athletic looking. And I liked,
Maybe you're trans.
That's possible.
Shut up.
Would I have had that thought
I
once
know.
before in my life?
Yeah.
Were I trans?
Yeah.
But
So-
no, and so I just didn't know what to do with them, and they
Right.
didn't fit them in a swimsuit. Like, I had to like even now, if I put on a swimsuit, I have to shove my boobs in a certain way. It's
Right.
like, why are these here?
Right.
And they were barely used when I was breastfeeding. So
Really?
yes, they weren't the aid I thought they would be.
Right.
Welcome to Play It, a new podcast network featuring radio and TV personalities talking business, sports, tech, entertainment, and more. Play it at play.it.
So you go to UCLA. You're you leave. Do you leave school after this?
After
Andy tries to.
I went back to UCLA, and then so that was like December that he did
Right.
that, and then I had dropped out by April, I think.
And was it because of him?
Yes, it was complete denial and complete, what have I done? Like, I completely thought that I had ruined a good man, and I had caused this person to act this way.
Well,
and I took and to cheat on his wife, and to try to cheat on his wife at least, and I
meanwhile,
felt terrible.
But you'd never talked about it with anyone.
No.
And he hadn't been caught yet.
No,
So this is all going on in your head.
No, that's right. That's right.
So you drop out. Do your parents say, Laurie, why are you dropping out of school?
My parents at that point, I think, were afraid of me and afraid of.
I'm afraid of you.
Like, I was spiraling out of control.
Oh, okay.
And they just didn't know what to do. And as they weren't introspective people, and they didn't tread emotionally. They weren't
Right.
people that knew how to talk about emotions.
Right.
And so they, their solution was, well, we'll just leave her alone here. Like,
Right.
it was just a lot of, we'll just leave you alone to figure it out.
Were you funny?
Yeah.
Like quirky, funny, quick?
Quick with friends.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm still not quick with a bunch of guys around.
They're just because they're stupid.
They take up so much.
I know.
When I was judging the roast battle a couple nights ago.
Yeah.
The 4 other judges were dudes, and I know how I am. Like, when I'm with you, when I'm
Right.
with Jackie Cation, when I'm
Right.
talking to other female comics, I'm a lot louder and just
Right.
feel comfortable in my personality. And I felt like this big.
Right.
I would like Big J on the right and a UFC champion on the left.
Right.
And Dave Smith and
Right.
Rich Voss. I don't know. It's interesting how even having one other female voice there with you really
Right.
changes the dynamic of something.
It's yeah. I don't know. There's something where I want to go, fuck you, shut the fuck.
Yeah.
Okay, so you.
That was a tangent. I don't know how that ended up that way, but
It
what
doesn't
we're talking
matter.
about. Okay.
Okay, so then you're dropped out, and
Yeah.
how soon after did they do this whole expose on 2020 about your?
That was a while ago. I mean, that was a while from that time.
So what did you do after you dropped out?
After I dropped out, this is interesting. I went back to swim for him because he was still swimming.
Even though you had all this?
Yes. Okay. I just buried it. I pretended like it didn't happen, but I happened to have gained 60 pounds. I didn't put two and two together whatsoever.
Yeah.
And I was on the process of gaining it, and I started swimming for him again, and I felt like such a failure. And it's like you swim on a team for 4 years, and you're supposed to get picked by college, and then you go off into the sunset. And here I was picked by a good college, and I was back swimming with the new seniors, and everyone had aged up, and they're like, "What are you doing back here?"
Right?
Like, shouldn't
But did he ever say anything? Like,
no. He never did. And then he was also coaching my high school team.
Yeah.
I worked for him as an assistant coach.
Right.
And I still wasn't thinking about that thing. I just put it out of my mind. And then I heard he was having sex with one of the 15-year-olds on the team. Not on my college team.
How'd you find out?
One of the other swimmers said something.
Okay.
And then I remembered what he did to me. And I was like, oh, this isn't good. So myself and another swimmer who I confided in, who he hadn't tried anything with, but who had told me and was aware of all these other things. Right. We went over to this girl's house, and she was probably 15 at the time, but he had known her since she was 11.
Right.
And she ended up being on the 2020 show and had to get an abortion. And,
no way.
Yes. And by the way, so talented and definitely would have been an Olympian had her mind not been fucked with by this monster. I mean,
fuck him.
Yeah, she would have been. You would know who she was.
Okay,
she was so good. I remember when she was a distance freestyler and was so capable of doing huge amounts of yardage when she was like 10 years old,
right.
Which is a rare ability for a kid that young. And she would have been a monster athlete.
Right. Wow.
Some things you just can't come back from when you have no help.
Right.
And so she was derailed. But anyway, my friend and I went over to her and I said, this is what Andy did to me. And it's weird because she and I have been spoken since then. And she said, I don't know what you're talking about.
Wow.
I said, is he doing? But I could tell from her face that she knew exactly.
Right.
And I was like, oh, okay. And I felt like, kind of like an idiot.
Well, you were trying to rescue her.
I was, and I called a couple other people, girls on my team, and I said, hey, Andy did this to me. Did he do anything like this to you? And a couple of people said no, and then somebody hung up on me right away, and I'm like, okay, he probably did something to her too. And there's a couple of girl swimmers that had anorexia, just problems where you're like looking back, you're like, oh, if you look at our team picture, you can go, her. She's too thin, she's too fat. She's like, you can see how everyone's lives turned out. Who were the girls he tampered with?
How much do you think this happens with coaches?
Oh, it must happen a lot. It's just it's such a weird line that you don't know when you're crossing a little bit,
right?
Especially if you're the teenager. I mean, the adults should know,
right?
And I think the way a teenager worships an adult is unlike how any other person worships them,
right?
And that must turn people that are prone to be awful into monsters.
Ben. He went. Someone, these people were like, "Oh, you should have him come play with blank," or and I brought him. It was like a year ago, or maybe more, to play with these kids, and the coach was really, the yelly tough type, and Ben doesn't care, but at one point he smacked him on the ass. He was like, "All right, every kids go," and he smacked him on the ass. And after I said, "Do you want to play for this team?" He said, "No." He had no right to smack me on the ass.
That's great.
And we never.
That's awesome. It's
and it was just. It wasn't even. It was like a guy, And he was like, "No, you don't touch me."
Yeah.
So, which I thought was thank God.
That's great.
But so. I think that's really bold of you to go to the girl's house.
In retrospect, it kind of was.
Yeah.
I wish
and
now.
you've never spoken to her since.
No, I have. She's the one that ended up bringing one of the lawsuits against Andy that got him.
Did she ever say to you,
"Yes,
thank you"?
Yes, and she said.
How long after?
this is in 2005, so 2006.
Yeah.
But she had said, I always remember when you came over and I told you it wasn't happening. She goes, I felt terrible.
Wow.
I was like, wow, I remember that too. It was, but she was only a teenager and she did not understand what's happening, you know? So, yeah.
Okay, so after that, do you ever go back to college?
No. Mm-mm. I would love to one day, like when I'm 70 or something.
Is it something? How long did you spend there?
A year and a half. Is 3/4 of a year? I guess. Yeah.
Okay.
Like 2.5.
Do you feel like shitty that you didn't finish?
Yeah, I kind of did, especially when I was trying or looking into getting writing jobs. It always felt like everyone went to Harvard. And I'm like, oh, like I not only did I not go to an Ivy, I dropped out.
Right.
Like it's kind of shameful. And I must not be one of those smart comics. I must be something else.
Please.
Yeah.
You know, I do notice that that one of the regrets that comics that I've met who didn't graduate college, they always had this like insecurity thing about it.
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you do after you graduate? After you drop out?
Then I I was working for Andy for a little bit,
right?
And then that was a huge failure of trying to catch him, and then I just stopped being associated. I quit swimming. I quit all of it.
Do you swim now?
No, I go through periods. I swam masters in my 20s. And
wow.
It was fun. I mean, I was on the road all the time, so it was like a thing to do is to try to find a pool in whatever shitty town I was in. So that's awesome. Gave me something to do.
That's what I did when I was running. I would find other people who run. And,
yeah.
And just so you know, because I think, you don't know this, but my father died swimming.
No, seriously?
Yes, we are all big swimmers, and so my father was doing laps, and he got out of the pool, and he had only done like 10 laps or something, and my mother went to say, Harold, why didn't you? And he had a heart attack. His eyes rolled back, and fell. So
but that was on the deck.
No, that was at the swim club that I fucking hated going to. Oh. No, he had gotten out of the pool. Okay. And my mother was about to ask him, and he, Wow. So, but we all swim. My brother swims Alcatraz, and
oh, neat.
Yeah. That, but every time I'm in the pool, I always think of my father, you know, because he loved swimming, so it was like, oh, that was kind of a not bad. Yeah.
A good friend of mine had an aneurysm when she was a swimmer at Cal. She was a great swimmer. She had an aneurysm and died in the pool.
No way. Mm-hmm. How old?
35.
Fucking shit.
Total random.
Ugh, I'm sorry.
It. Yeah.
This is really funny, this podcast. Okay, so let's get into how do you get into stand-up?
I was living with my parents in the East Bay. And
how was that, living with your parents?
I needed to. My dad had lived overseas for many years, and he was finally home, and so I wanted to kind of reconnect. Okay, so I was fine, and
you seem very close to your father.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I just started going to see stand up in the city. Do you ever hear of the Other Cafe?
Yes.
Okay.
Wait, I just want to say one thing before we move on to the Other Cafe. You testified in the Andy trial.
I was a Jane Doe with written testimony, and it was more just to give the
judge. Should be your stage name.
Jane Doe.
Ladies and gentlemen, she's really original. Ladies and gentlemen, Jane Doe. Yeah.
It was I and everyone else who had a story did a written testimony, so the judge could see what a long history this guy had and give him the harshest possible.
And what did he end up with?
40 years at age 70. So he'll die in prison.
Good. Fuck him.
Yeah. He must be close to 80 now.
All right. So you go the Other Cafe. Where was the Other Cafe?
It was in the Haight-Ashbury.
Right.
And it was
I remember hearing about it in the 80s.
The stage didn't
Henriette work at the Henriette Mantel.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I remember. Yeah.
And Paul Poundstone was famous.
Yes.
Because it was in the corner of a room, and the left wall was a window onto Ashbury, either on Ash to anyway to just every creature in San Francisco that walked by.
Right.
in the 80s and 90s.
Right.
And San Francisco was amazing back then because it
Right.
was affordable. So
Right.
all the interesting people still lived in it.
Right.
And Kevin Meaney was great at places like that. And I saw Dana Carvey a bunch of times and Bobby Slayton.
Right. And you would just go there as an audience member?
Yes. And then seeing a female comic who wasn't that good on amateur night or the Tuesday night, I was like, oh, I bet I could do that.
Wait, who was it?
I'll write it down. I wouldn't tell you.
Is it a person who still does stand-up?
No. You might know.
Okay, wait. I just want to have a reaction. Okay.
Do 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 do.
No? Okay. You don't know her.
Not Jewish. Okay, go ahead. All right, so I think I do remember that name.
Yeah.
But anyway, okay, so how do you get on stage?
My first open mic was at Foo Bars in Concord, California. Did you ever work Foo Bars?
No.
It was at one point it was booked by Tom Sawyer, and so we'd bring people out to do Cops and Foo Bars. But anyway,
He books whatchamacallit still.
He still works for Cops was bought by Live Nation, so he works for them, but he's not like before he was a single owner booker.
Remember when it wasn't owned by these fucking corporations?
Yeah.
And you could just work clubs because you had a good relationship with the booker?
Yeah.
The fuck? I don't even work
really
clubs
hard
anymore.
now.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
We're going to get to that in just a few moments,
cool.
ladies and gentlemen. Because this business sucks. Okay, go ahead.
So yeah, and did you know a guy named Tree, a comedian named Tree? He looked like a gay Nazi, and he had like a big Harley.
Please
sort
look
of
it up.
Contingency.
Oh, you can't.
Audience.
Wait, let me see if anyone
Okay.
texted me.
Gay Nazi.
But he wasn't either. He was.
I mean, all the Nazis kind of look gay.
Yeah. He was super pale, shaved his head, and wore leather chaps on stage.
Yeah.
And he was a great character. And he would kill. Did you ever watch Sons of Anarchy?
Yeah.
He would like kill with a Sons of Anarchy crowd, which is like a very specific, significant
here's
population
Trey.
in California. Yeah, nicest guy in the world.
Let's see. Images.
Like a biker crowd.
Oh, I remember him. Is this him?
Do you remember him?
Is this him?
Is that him now? Well, I don't think so.
No, wait.
Right,
It's this
comedian
guy.
Tree.
Tree. I don't know.
Tree.
Chaps.
I can't see it.
Yeah. Okay. This is great radio, by the way. What the fuck is this weather?
That is
okay.
Tree.
That is Tree.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he threatened to. He said, "This is this lady's first time on stage, and if you heckle her, I'm going to kill you."
Right.
And which is awesome. And my dad was in the audience.
Oh, your dad came to your first show?
He went on the road with me.
Oh,
I took him around. I took him on one nighters. Like,
yeah, I used to take my mother with me after
Fun,
my father
right?
died. Yeah.
yeah.
Dead. All right.
Dead.
So, so how was the first time? How was it?
Oh, I killed.
Yeah, you always killed the
Because
first
I
time.
and I was supposed to telemarketing, and they all came. It was like a bringer show,
right.
I did a bringer, whatever a version of that was, and they loved me. And then the whole thing was I had a pamphlet from Tova Feldsha, who used to have a makeup collection.
She did?
Yes,
That's a bell, isn't it?
That's a major bell,
totally.
Tova. Yeah.
Yes, and so the text was as ridiculous as you would think it
Right.
was. So I just went up and sort of read it and then made comments.
Right.
And,
Love it.
Yeah, I killed. And then the next week, without my telemarketing
People.
family in the audience, I bombed. And
Right.
then I was like, what happened? And
Right.
I've been sort of like that ever since.
Yeah,
It's
that's
like, how do I?
how do I
You're-
go? It's like
you're
doing
always
coke.
Trying to
You're
solve
trying
a
to go.
puzzle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And as we always say, sell on.
And everything was wonderful. I'll see you soon. Thank you for the visit. So long.
This episode is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Fiscally responsible, financial geniuses, monetary magicians. These are things people say about drivers who switch their car insurance to Progressive and save hundreds. Visit Progressive.com to see if you could save. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Potential savings will vary. Not available in all states or situations.